What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. We got Project Green Bean in the shop, and today we are finally going to be diving into this suspension. As you guys have probably heard me say, maybe you have, maybe you haven't, we've got a set of 24x14 JTX forged wheels with a set of 35-15-50 tires. So they're pretty beefy, they're pretty big, they're pretty wide. The suspension setup that's on there now, which has been stock, is definitely not going to cut it. So what we have over here is we've got a Striker 6-inch suspension lift. Probably the biggest lift that I've installed in a very long time. So I'm excited. We've used their 4-inch kits before on a couple different trucks. They look insanely good. They drive really nicely. So very excited to install and see what a 6-inch kit is going to do on this truck. Now, seeing that it's a long bed and we've got some pretty wide wheels, I feel like it is going to nail the whole proportion thing. In my opinion, bigger lifts really have their place, and that's on a longer wheelbase truck. So seeing this truck is a long bed, I think it is going to look absolutely perfect. If you doubt me, hang to the end so you can see what it's going to look like. But I'm super excited. We've got everything powder coated this really cool green that kind of matches the insanely cool paint color on the truck. So that's kind of where we're at. That's where we're starting. We're going to dive in. You guys have seen us do a lot of suspension videos on this channel, so we're gonna breeze through a lot, but there are some key things on this kit that are different from a little bit smaller lifts that we're gonna do. So stay tuned, strap in. We're gonna start tearing apart the front on this thing, get this thing lifted up. Our entire front suspension on the truck completely torn apart, completely removed, and we're ready to kind of start installing new stuff. Now, I want to explain a couple of differences on this 6-inch Striker kit compared to some of the other suspension systems that we've done, or a 4-inch kit from Striker. The 6-inch kit actually comes with a new cross member, a transmission cross member, I should say, which is going to gain access, a little bit more clearance for the front drive shaft. Also comes with this indexing ring for the T-case. So it's going to basically rotate our T-case down just a little bit just to improve our front drive shaft angle. So completely usable, 100% still, nothing insanely huge or crazy, but this is just going to provide extra clearance for the front drive shaft, and this is going to maintain a proper front drive shaft angle at the same time. So we do need to remove our front and rear drive shaft, the transmission cross member, and go ahead and put this new one in, and then install this indexing ring. Again, nothing crazy, but it definitely does add a little bit more difficulty to the job. Instead of just kind of throwing in our springs, throwing in our new radius arms and the radius arm drop brackets. Everything else, this is the same from 4 to 6, I believe. New radius arms with our cover plates, and we've got our radius arm drop brackets that we've used before on the 4-inch kit. So really just need to start tackling the cross member first and the T-case, and then we'll move into the rest of it. Just to remind everybody, Santa Claus hasn't come yet with my 2-post lifts. So yes, we are doing this on the ground, on my back, because you know what? Ain't nobody got time for excuses, okay? We're just getting it done regardless of the situation, and I don't want to hear about it. Because you know what? It sounds like you're being a little girl. That's all I gotta say. Also, if you haven't gotten a short little 15... Oh, hey man.
Brother.
Hey, brother. Brother. It's all right. We're alive. It's okay.
I feel like the last time we took this drive shaft out, that happened.
Did it?
Yeah, to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We missed. right, so we've got our indexing ring installed on our transfer case here. A couple quick things. We did use red Loctite going back with these bolts. As you can see, we've got a new set of bolts that are going to hold this ring and a new set of studs. We did use red Loctite on these bolts because this ain't, let's just be honest, this ain't no little girl truck. This is a Cummins, so things shake and they vibrate, like the harmonic balancers, flex plates, flywheels, anything that has an opportunity to kind of like vibrate loose. Blue Loctite, red Loctite, just make sure it's not going anywhere, and we have done just that. So the only other thing that we did different that I would say maybe abnormal or an upgrade is the studs that they push through this ring. I didn't show you guys before we put it on, but you can see the little heat marks. We did actually throw some weld on the ring behind it, just in case this thing ever does like come out, need to be serviced. We want to make sure all this stuff can still be reversed or come back and forth. So ensuring that is when these things get tightened up and you go to loosen them, that the studs don't actually loosen instead of the bolts. So we don't want any spinning going on besides the rear tires. But anyway, T-case is ready to go back in. We're going to muscle this thing back up in there, and then we can go ahead and put our new cross member in, and then we can move on to the front of the truck. So we're cruising along. This is definitely a little bit of an additional step on the 6-inch kits, but really not too bad. So get back to work. Yeah. All right, so now that we've got our new cross member and our indexing ring for the transfer case in there, we can kind of get started back to where you would almost be starting on a 4-inch kit. So really, again, I know we've gone over this many times, but if you've never seen any of our other suspension videos on this kit right here, in order to make the radius arm at the correct angle for the axle, we've got this radius arm drop bracket, which bolts really in factory bolt locations. So this is going to get bolted onto the frame side, which is then just going to lower our radius arm mount in the back down this amount of distance right here to correct for the spring height. So one thing that we do that I think that is really nice, that if you're going to end up doing a kit like this is still a factory radius arm that we have taken off of a same year truck and that we have powder coated. So you guys saw that we do have new bushings. So basically we take out the bushings in the back here, we powder coat a factory radius arm, and then our powder coated overlays then match a very nice arm. Instead of trying to like spray paint that and have that look a lot different, this actually blends very well, and it actually almost kind of looks like an aftermarket arm without a fully fabricated arm. So it's just another option for it to look a lot more unique and custom without going to essentially a custom part. So when this thing rolls down the road, this arm, this bracket, this whole entire setup right here really just stands out. And again, we're doing black and green on this one, but you could do a ton of different stuff. You just have to make sure that you get new bushings. These bushings right here, they're not bad at all to press in, and I don't think they're really insanely overly priced as far as like, why don't you just go get a new arm if you're gonna go and get new bushings. These bushings aren't that bad. So that's kind of where we're at. We're gonna go ahead and take off our factory radius arms and then start with our bracket side. Put the brackets on, put our new arms on, and then we can kind of start putting on our springs, our shocks, the rest of it. Cha-ching! So radius arms are now on there. Our drop brackets are now on there. Everything is pretty much torqued on the bracket side. We're gonna wait to torque the actual arm side until we're on the ground at ride height and we've got some of our adjustments adjusted. But pretty much that's the look. I don't know if you guys can tell by the amount of space in this thing right now, but this thing is gonna look good. It's definitely gonna be taller than what we're used to by a little bit, but I'm scared and nervous all at the same time, but I'm overly excited because I think it's just gonna be an absolutely tough look. So some of the other parts that we still have left to do on the front end, we're gonna stay on the front end. We're gonna get the springs in there. We also, with this kit, have a dual steering stabilizer. We've got a bracket for the track bar. We've got our front sway bar, and a couple other miscellaneous pieces. So that's kind of where we're rolling to now. But the arm part is now taken care of and done. You ain't even ready. This thing looks insane. We're gonna bolt the wheels on, then we're gonna get the jacks out from underneath of it, but it's actually on its own weight currently right now, and we kind of have an idea of how tall it is, and
yeah,
nasty. Nasty. It looks so good. And when I say good, it means like this thing rolling down the road, you guys aren't even ready. It's a moment of truth.
Good grief, bro.
I love everything about it.
This thing is huge.
I love everything about it.
Like, go stand next to the mirror.
Yeah, man, this is my 6-inch cowboy truck.
Right here.
Now,
So good.
So I think we've talked about it before. It's just proportional. Like if this was a short bed, I would never in a million years ever think about going this high. But long bed, wider wheel setup, like I think it's gonna fit the truck. I think even if you don't like it right now, which you're wrong, obviously, wait until we get it outside and you see it rolling down the road. Like it is going to be. You know what? The internet says I never miss, and I believe them. So you should believe them too. Should probably finish the front. We've been playing with the coil springs, just making sure they're sitting as straight up and down as possible. Obviously, if you guys know anything about these 4th gen axles, the coil buckets on the axles are like extremely tilted and leaned and stuff like that. So you kind of have to like play with the coils a little bit. Usually what we try to do on the bottom side of the coil is where the coil wrap starts, put that towards the inside facing in, because that's where the perch pitches down. So if you rotate them weird or oddly, you'll get like a really weird slinky effect. It's nature of the beast with these axles, the way that they're kind of curved like that. But if you do that, it minimizes it a ton. So helpful tip trick maybe there. Our track bar is like loosely on, like everything's kind of like still like loosely placed on there. We need to put our front shocks on. We still need to do stabilizer. Like we've just been kind of like poking around the whole thing. So we're gonna basically still stay on the front, get that wrapped up, maybe give you guys a little bit more complete picture of the front. But the bulk of the majority, the truck is sitting back on its own weight off of jack stands. So that's great news. So some of the silver hardware we might change up a little bit too, seeing that everything is just really gloss black or green, but I am ecstatic with how this is going to turn out. What do you think about out the 6-inch lift on the Green Bean project, the long bed here. I think it looks absolutely phenomenal. It is definitely a little bit bigger than we've done before, but it looks absolutely killer on this truck. If you don't, like I said, if you don't believe me, just wait till the end. Obviously, we still have the rear suspension to do. She's looking a little leaned out, a little squatted in the back, but that's only because we haven't done the rear yet. We're gonna separate the rear for a different video because we've got some really cool stuff for the rear of the truck, some details that we want to get into, but the front suspension for the most part is about 99% done. We've got our Fox 2.0 reservoir shocks in there, we've got our coils, we've got our radius arm drops, our new radius arms, we've got our dual steering stabilizer, which is not completely done, but you can see how tough it looks. We have got all of the sway bar stuff, the sway bar end links, all that stuff is on there. It's all looking good. It all matches the truck really well. So the whole picture is really coming together on this truck exactly the way that I had planned it, and it is going to look absolutely killer, and coming at you down the road is going to look so tough. So I'm really excited to see the thing pretty much wrapped up and done. Like I said, next video upcoming will be the rear suspension and all of the cool stuff that we have planned for the rear of the truck. So stay tuned. Make sure you guys hit the like button before you leave, subscribe if you've not already, and we'll see you in the next video very soon. Who's excited? I'm ecstatic. See you in the next video, guys. See ya.